everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, my name is Joviana DeJesus and I am so glad that you're back. Today on my channel we're recreating this look right here. It is all types of glam. It is definitely smoky, party, holiday, Thanksgiving, New Year's appropriate. I'm aiming more towards Thanksgiving just because that's where I'm headed today, but I just feel like this look is perfection for the end of the year festivities, and I hope that you guys really do like it. I'm gonna keep it very short. We're gonna go into detail with the complexion, with the eyes. I hope that you guys like it. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel because we are doing it up for the glam looks during the holiday season, so don't forget to subscribe, hit the notification bell. I will stop talking, just get ready to glam it up with me. Alright guys, we're gonna get started on the eye. I did one off of camera and there's still a little bit that I have to clean up and fix, but we'll do that together. So we're gonna start by using our Morphe Fierce by Nature palette, and I am super excited to get into these colors just because I wanted something like a classic smoky eye. I don't know if you guys remember, but there was like a moment where like this was the go-to where you used 3 colors and you did the inner corner and the lid that was very shimmery and bright, but I also wanted to just kind of intensify it a little bit, and I feel like we achieved that. So don't mind me using a different palette as a mirror. We're gonna go ahead and start off with a different brush than I usually use for the crease area. This is an oldie but a goodie. It is a crown brush, SS027. It looks like this. So just so you guys can kind of get an idea of why I'm saying a different brush. So this is the one that I usually use compared to what we're using today. Very different, a little more dense, but I do want to pack the color on. And so I'm going to go in with the shade called the OG in this palette, which is this guy right here. So I'm going to pack quite a bit onto the brush, dust away the excess, and we are going to tilt our head slightly back, and we're going to start by building that color into the crease area. This is your first time, like I've already done, what is that? My other eye off camera, so I've been able to build quite a bit of the shadow into the brush. Sometimes a clean brush will give you a hard time getting the payoff right away. So I'm just gonna blend very light pressure, and I'm gonna make sure that I, like, you see how this is quite low, I'm gonna bring that out so that we're able to do our wing just as low as the other one. And so you're gonna blend circular motions. Don't be afraid to bring it up pretty high up into the crease. We're gonna clean that up, but I wanna make sure that you're okay going up high because we're gonna keep it very smoky, very rounded today. Okay, great. So once we've built that color up pretty nicely, we're gonna move on to our next color and our next brush. I'm gonna use this guy right here, which is the JH34. It's tapered, it's still a blending brush, but it's got a little more point than the previous one. And we're gonna go into this color right here, which is called Domination. That's this color right here. I like this type of brush because it's gonna help me get right into the hollows of that crease area, and it's going to help me to carve out the crease so we can create this half cut crease situation going on. So I'm going to start by putting the darkest amount of color in the outer corner and then bringing that in. And I'm going to go ahead and focus a little more on the outer V with this color because we're going to start to build up the intensity. So this color, although I know that in the palette they look very intense and very different from each other, it's like same color family, but just a little bit darker. Okay, moving right along, we are going to take 2 of these colors at the bottom. It's Jolt and Smolder. Both of these guys here are very dark browns, and one is more of like a cool tone. The other one has a little more of a red undertone to it, but I like the mixture of the 2 to create that depth in the outer corner. So I'm going to take that on a Morphe 433 brush. This has to be my favorite blending packing brush of all time. I really do like this brush so much. It does exactly that. It packs and builds intensity, but it also helps to blend out the outer corners. And so because I want to pack on as much color as possible, I'm going to start by stamping this on, keeping it pretty close to this lash line, but then also remembering that I'm going to bring it up quite a bit. And again, we're using our other side as a reference. So what I did to get that intensity and that shape is I just honestly did circular motions, mostly in this outer corner, and just kind of lightly, very light pressure. We're gonna bring that up some. Okay, so this is where we're gonna stop for a second, take a time out. We're gonna go back into our primer, the Urban Decay Eden Primer. And I'm gonna use this to cut up my crease area. And this is, I mean, honestly, the easiest way to do it. Yes, you can use your concealer. It doesn't have to be this primer, but honestly, if you haven't tried this primer, I need you guys to go and try it. The payoff on this primer, the way that the shadows work with it, the way that it color corrects is phenomenal. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take it on a flat brush, and I'm gonna start by working with a little bit at a time and using swiping motions to pull that into the inner corner slash lid area. And I'm just gonna look up for a second so that it can trace out its natural outline. And then I'm gonna keep tracing it out. Okay, great. So once that's done, we're gonna go to a nice stiff flat brush, but a little stiffer than what the other one is, and a little fluffier, so it's gonna help us swipe and spread color. And we're gonna switch gears here. It's still gonna be a Morphe palette, but it's gonna be the Jaclyn Hill palette. I love the 3503, the Fierce by Nature palette, but it doesn't have that many shimmery shades, and this requires some shimmers. So we're gonna go into this shade right here, and I'm gonna mix that with a little bit of this guy right there. So I'm gonna take that first shade, pack it on. I'm actually gonna take a moment and use some Fix Plus. And it's gonna open that eye right up for us and kind of undo some of that darkness. Like, I know sometimes it's scary using these dark shades because you're scared that it's going to do exactly that and just close off your eye, but honestly, this half cut crease, like a soft cut crease situation, is really the best way to go. So that's how we're going to open up the eye a little bit there. And then what I did, just so it wasn't such a harsh transition between a light and a dark color, I'm going to go in and I'm going to use it's actually from this palette, and it's Muse, which is right here. Just like a coppery tone. I'm gonna use that to kind of help transition. But it's not so harsh. Just like that. And then with a finer brush, which is this guy right here, this is the JH40, we're gonna go back into our Fierce by Nature palette, and we are going to blend out those lines a little more, because even though it's a cut crease, you don't want it to be like an overwhelming cut crease. You still want blended, you still want the intensity out here. Starting to look similar. All right, I like it. Okay, so next we are going to line the waterline, and we're actually gonna do our wing. So what we're using for the wing is the Stila Stay All Day Waterproof Liquid Liner, and then what I'm gonna use to tightline is my Urban Decay Glide On Pencil in Zero. So we're gonna just apply those two. Excuse me, but I'm gonna do this off camera so I can get nice and close, because I need the mirror like right here. Okay, I'm back. So before I put my lashes and mascara on, I actually went over, and you can totally skip this part, but I just feel like it made it a little more cohesive and it flowed better as a look, is I went over the liner with a little bit of a shadow. So I'm taking the black shadow that's in the palette and I'm just stamping over it, and it'll kind of matte it out a little more. Intensify it just a little bit more, and I'm actually taking a brush, a small brush, and I'm kind of just going over this outer corner with a little bit of the black, and this is just the slightest pressure ever, guys, like not even. And so now that that step is done, I'm just gonna go in and just clean up a little bit All right, so key to that is make sure that you stay as close as you can with the white to the liner, but don't wipe the under eye area as much, and you're golden. Because sometimes you forget that it kind of has to tie in together and it's gonna look rough if you forget that. So I am just gonna finish the eyes off by putting on some mascara. I've been trying out this Dior Blackout Mascara, which has worked wonderfully for me. And then I'm also using the KoKo lashes in the Queen Bee. So I will be right back to finish complexion with you guys as soon as I put these on. Okay, so we are on to the complexion, and I've kind of zoomed you guys out a little bit, but not too much. Because I don't know, I feel like I like to show you the technique a little closer. But anyways, so we've got the YSL Instant Pore Matte Pore Refiner, which we're gonna put that in the center of the face. You guys know how I do with my combination skin. We're gonna work that in to all of our lovely areas that we know cause us the struggle. And then we're gonna go into the face with the MAC Strobe Cream. I use it in the shade Peachlite. I just like the undertone of the reflection that it gives. But this guy's gonna go on the outer perimeter of my face in the area where I did not put the YSL. The reason being is we are going in with a very full covered, very matte foundation. And even though I love both of those things, it is very important to me personally to keep my skin hydrated and glowy looking underneath, as well as with powders and etc. So we're gonna go in with the Smashbox Studio Skin Full Coverage 24-Hour Foundation. This is honestly the most amazing foundation of all time for me. I love it. So I'm gonna use a pea-size amount to start with, and then we'll blend it out. We're blending it out today with the M439 brush by Morphe. And I use a buffing brush at first, but then I will go in with my beauty sponge after. Okay, great. And so next we're gonna move on to our cream contouring part of this. I love to cream contour for more dressed up glam looks like this. This is just such a bold look on the eyes, so you wanna make sure it's even with what's going on with the complexion. And to do that, what I'm gonna do is use, I'm actually going with probably the darkest cream contour that I have, just because I want it to be a nice solid base for underneath. I plan on taking pictures tonight. And you know that I believe in the theory of having some creams to reinforce the powders. So I'm gonna take my Fit Me concealer in the shade Cocoa, which is 60, and it looks like that. I'm gonna take that on a smaller brush, like this guy right here. This is by BH Cosmetics, and it's part of their marble pack. And so I'm gonna be very specific, very strategic with where I place this, and I'm gonna start by placing the most amount of product on my forehead, which is where I'm okay with the contour being a little bolder. And then I will push products in with this beauty sponge by Morphe to kind of help blend everything in. You want everything to look blended and cohesive and not just like sitting on top of each other. So now we're gonna take this quite high onto the cheekbone and then kind of blend it down so that it falls where it needs to. I start with the dark and I go into the concealer after, just because it'll help to just kind of clean everything up, and the concealer will just finish brighter. I know sometimes people do it like opposite of what I just did, but trust me, with the placement and the technique and the order, it'll work best for you. So next we're gonna go right into concealer, which is like my best part. I feel like I come to life when the complexion gets to this point. And we're gonna use the Born This Way concealer in the shade Nude. So I'm gonna use this as my color correcting concealing shade, and then I'm gonna go in with a different concealer to highlight. You guys know this. So I'm gonna start by where the areas where it's like the most discoloration, which is this very area right here. And this concealer is really good. It's nice and full coverage, so I don't have to like re-dip usually, which is nice. And I'm gonna take it where I have some hyperpigmentation. I'm gonna do it in the center of my face, just so it's unison, down my nose. And I really try to not re-dip into the product so I don't overdo it, and we'll just leave it right there, because I am going to use a second concealer. I feel like it feels a little much. It might be, but you know, it's who we are. So I'm going to use a beauty sponge to just kind of work that in. I start from the points that are furthest away from the under eyes, just so that I can leave those for last. And then taking advantage of whatever gets left on the sponge, I'm just going to clean up some of the contouring while I'm at it. So anyways, we're gonna move on to our highlighting portion. This is the Benefit Cakeless Concealer. It is a nice matte concealer, but it is not creasing, it's not drying under there. I have the shade number 2 that I'm gonna strategically place in certain areas to help me highlight. And this is very minimal compared to what we just used. I'm gonna use a very tiny bit. Again, starting furthest away from the face, working that up. Okay, once you've made it to this point, I want to congratulate you. We are done with all of our liquids on the face at this point, but you are pretty B right now. So you could stop and you could set with just a loose powder under the eyes, all over your face, and you'd be good to go. But I want to back everything we just did up with powders. So we're going to start with our Studio Fix Compact in C2. This guy I'm going to use to set my under eye area. We're going to do it with a compact powder first, and then we're going to go in with a loose powder. And the reason being is this is like a highlighting powder, so I won't lose any of that color correcting that we just did with the 2 steps when I'm using powder like this. And this guy is a really good one because it also is matte. So it will absorb a lot of the oils that tend to build up. And I just like to pat this into place, and I use a tapered brush. This one is the JH07. And we are just putting this in all the areas that we just got done putting concealer. Patting into place at this point from now on is gonna be the best thing for you to do instead of swiping, because we just got done doing so many layers that you don't want to just lift everything that you just did. So pat, 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 pat all over the face. Beautiful. Like that just is set now. It's not glowy, it's not dewy, it's not cakey. I love it. Look how blurred we are. This is a nice blurring powder. It's got your back. It's got your back. So moving on with that, we are going to set the under eye area with a powder, a loose powder. And lately I have been loving the Hourglass Mineral Veil loose powder for that. And the reason being is it is not a flat, cakey powder. It's got some reflection to it. So under the eye area, around the mouth, these are the areas where you want to place this powder. You guys hear that? I have 2 dogs. They're coming in. They're being called, summoned, and they're so extra. Oh Lord. Okay, so I'm gonna take the Luxie 231 brush, and I'm gonna start by using the OG color, and then I'm gonna build and go to Domination, and then we're gonna go to our browns, where everything we did on the top, we're gonna do on the bottom. Okay, so eyes are almost done. I just want to go into this guy here and use Lucido for the inner corner. All right, perfect. So we're gonna go in and still leaving the powder, like I know the powder's still on my face, but we're gonna go and contour with this guy here. The Kat Von D Shade and Light palette, which is my go-to contouring palette of all time. And I wanna just reinforce what we already have, but I also wanna go in a little deeper with tones. So that being said, we're gonna go into the outer 2, so the nice light color, and then also this guy here. And I'm just gonna very lightly go back and forth to these 2. And what I like to do is just do like that awkward fishy face, but just kind of follow that nice line that we already have going on. I love it. I'm gonna go ahead and do some of that in the temples. I like to do it directly over the temple area with the contour powder, and then blend that into the hairline as well. I think that's very important because, okay, cool. So that first brush that we use to kind of pat on the powder, wherever that could be. right here. We're gonna use that to clean up the extra powder and kind of clean up that contour too. Just a little bit of bronzing. So I'm gonna take my MAC bronzer in Refined Golden, just guy right there. And I'm just gonna take it a little bit, just to kind of bring back color from that Hourglass. So we're gonna highlight and we're gonna do blush and then lips. We're almost there. And I'm gonna start off using my Makeup Forever Pro Fusion Undetectable Luminizer, which is this guy here. Look how pretty that is. It looks even better on the skin. So I'm gonna take it with my Morphe 501 brush, and we are going to apply that very, very generously. Okay, and then I'm gonna layer the Becca Vanilla Quartz highlight over that. Same brush. Right there. I'm not gonna put that everywhere like I did the first one, but just right there. Yeah. Very pretty. Lastly, but definitely not least, is blush. And because this color is so intense up here, I'm gonna go with something a little more intense than usual. This is my Blushing in Bali palette by BH Cosmetics, and I'm gonna take this shade Pomegranate right there. And I'm actually gonna use a stippling brush. When I use dark shades like this pomegranate shade, I always like to go in with the stippling brush because the stippling brush helps to kind of diffuse things and blend them out so it won't be as intense. Like, I want the color to be intense, but I don't want it to be like blotched on my face. So I just start by lightly picking it up, shaking off the excess, and then we are going to do very light patting motions towards the back of my face. And then I will do the eye. All right guys, so this is my finished look here. I don't even know why I put the stuff away, but I did. I'm like in such a rush to leave. So for the lips, I use the color, what is it called? Sueno de Coco from the ILUVSARAAHI Colourpop collection. I love this nude. You guys know I love nudes period, but I love this nude. And then I topped it off with a gloss, and this is the No. 7 High Shine Gloss in Naturally Nude. Like, this is what got this right here. This is the finished look. I hope that you guys liked it. I hope that it was easy for you guys to recreate this look. It is definitely glam. It is definitely fall, warm, like just gathering vibes. I don't know, like I really love how intense it is because I don't usually do this intense of a look on my channel, I feel like, but I need to start, you know? It's appropriate for the holidays. So let me just zoom you guys in. So you've got your soft cut crease with your wing and your smoke out on the outer corner. You are super duper blurred out in the center of the face, matted, but you're contoured and it's soft at the same time. So I hope that you guys really did like this look. I hope that it was easy for you guys to follow along. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel and hit the thumbs up button if you like videos like this so I know what content to create. Hit the notification bell, that way you are made aware of when I upload videos and you don't miss out, because during the holidays, we're gonna glam it up with more looks just like this one. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.